السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. It's a pleasure actually to be here attending this event, and as most of you know that this is the second time for us to celebrate the graduation of some of our colleagues, students from our beloved Africa. Last year we had the first ceremony, and this is the second one. And we here at Biblioteca Alexandrina are very, very, very glad to have you all attending and joining us in this celebration. I'm looking forward for the events. Minutes by minutes. I enjoyed it last year one. I was proud with it, and I believe that I will be the same for this event as well. On behalf of Dr. Ismail Srageldin, the Director of Biblioteca Alexandrina, I'm here to welcome you all for our library. And as you know, all the library is some kind of landmark here in Alexandria, here in Egypt, and here is the continent, our beloved continent, Africa. We are expecting many of their excellencies, the ambassadors of some African countries from which some students are going to be graduated this year from Alexandria University, and in those countries in alphabetical order: the Republic of Burundi, the Republic of Guinea, the Republic of Libya, the Republic of Malawi, and the Republic of Niger, the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the Republic of Chad, the Republic of Uganda, and Congo. Of course, we look for the day where we have graduates from the whole 54 countries of our continents. Last year we have similar number of countries represented in here in this program. So I'm actually welcoming all of their excellencies, the ambassadors who joined us today, especially His Excellency Soreba Kamara, the ambassador of Guinea. His Excellency Mr. Musa Yaqub Sow, representing the Embassy of Niger, and His Excellency Sen Liwal Ghana Guba, the Ambassador of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and His Excellency Mr. Jean Alfred Soukou, representing the Embassy of Congo. And of course, I here to welcome as well Mr. Ibrahim Ahmed Ibrahim, who is representing the governor of our beloved city, Alexandria, and Dr. Ashraf Farag, representing the rector of our university in Alexandria. Going in the higher order, actually I also welcome the presence of Dr. Ashraf Ghanem. Dr. Ashraf Ghanem is representing our Minister of Agriculture and Land Reclamation in our government, and Mr. Medhat Mohammed Ibrahim, representing the Ministry of Water, Ministry of Irrigation and Water Resources. So we welcome you all with us And for this, we will start the ceremony by just watching one of the great Africans we all look at as a landmark person for our continent, Mr. Nelson Mandela. Please.
الفيديو وانا هشغل الساوند من عندي. عايزين نبدأ مع بعض.
When a man has done what he considers to be his duty to his people and his country, he can rest in peace. I believe I've made that effort. And that is therefore why I will sleep for the eternity.
Nelson Mandela, who led the emancipation of South Africa from white minority rule and served as his country's first black president, became an international symbol of dignity and forbearance. Mr. Mandela's quest for freedom led from the court of tribal royalty to the Liberation Underground, to a prison rock quarry, and finally to the presidential suite of Africa's wealthiest country.
The central goal was that South Africa would be ruled by South Africans. It was the cause of his life, and he achieved it.
Mandela first came to the world's attention while serving a life prison sentence for sabotage and conspiracy to overthrow the state. He would become the personification of opposition to South Africa's brutal apartheid regime.
Apartheid was a system that was set up by the National Party government of an extremely formal race-based division of the country. Apartheid literally in the Afrikaans language means apartness. It means that the races were not meant to live together.
In the early 1960s, Mandela led the ANC, the African National Congress, on a road of armed insurrection against the apartheid regime. It would lead to his eventual arrest on charges of conspiracy to overthrow the state. Mandela's legend grew when he arrived at his trial wearing traditional Xhosa leopard skin garb to underscore that he was an African entering a white man's jurisdiction. Mandela's courtroom speech was one of the most eloquent of his life.
I have cherished the idea of a democratic and free society in which all persons will live together in harmony and with equal opportunities. It is an idea for which I hope to live for. But my Lord, if it needs be, it is an idea for which I am prepared to die.
The South African government of Prime Minister Hendrik Verwoerd was under pressure from liberals at home and abroad to spare the defendants. Nevertheless, the judge sentenced them to life in prison.
The sentence on the case of all the accused will be one of life imprisonment.
Nelson Mandela was 44 when he was sentenced to hard labor at South Africa's notorious Robben Island prison.
They were placed in small cells. They did manual labor. They walked off every day to these limestone quarries where they smashed up limestone that would be used to build highways, roads.
Under the National Party's rule, ethnic clashes and violence were rampant. In Mandela's view, by the mid-'80s, the enemy was already morally and politically defeated. His strategy, he said, was to give the white rulers every chance to retreat in an orderly way. Mr. Mandela's decision to begin direct and secret negotiations with the white government was one of the most momentous of his life. He made it without consulting his comrades in the African National Congress, knowing full well they would resist. He was released from prison in 1990 at the age of 71. Bill Keller was the New York Times South Africa bureau chief from 1992 to 1995.
It was clearly an electrifying moment. You know, again, it was a symbolic moment because a lot of the important stuff had already happened before then. He'd been negotiating literally for years, the terms of a deal that would legalize the opposition parties and begin the process of democratizing South Africa. But that was the moment when I think, just in everybody's minds, they just said, oh my God, it's real.
I stand here before you not as a prophet, but as a humble servant.
The South Africa that he walked out into was kind of a mess. I mean, it was the campaign against apartheid had set itself a goal of making the country ungovernable, and to some extent they succeeded. The townships were erupting in violence, and everybody sort of knew that the established order was beginning to crumble, but nobody knew quite what was going to succeed it. So people were very, very anxious.
2 years after Mandela's release from prison, black and white leaders began negotiations that would lead to the end of white rule. All the while, extremists, black and white, continued to use violence to tilt the outcome their way, as Mr. Mandela and the white president, F.W. de Klerk, argued and maneuvered towards a peaceful transfer of power.
The key to the deal was a decision on the part of the ANC that they would share power. for the initial stages of a new democracy, and that the president would have 2 deputy presidents from other parties who would participate in the governance of the country. Having established this constitution, they then had to prepare for something that South Africa had never seen, which was an honest-to-God election campaign in which most Africans got to participate. It was an amazing spectacle. He campaigned in white neighborhoods too, and went to white events, but just the unforgettable thing was to be in one of these small soccer stadiums in an African township. People sitting up on the tin roof, and then you'd sort of see this sort of dusty trail of cars approaching, and they'd arrive in the middle of the soccer field, and Mandela would get out, and the place would just erupt. And it was, profoundly moving, I have to say. Again, elections are just the starting point of democracy, but there is something about watching people get this privilege who've been denied it for a long time that you can't help but be moved.
The African National Congress won 62% of the vote, earning 252 of the 400 seats in Parliament, and ensuring that Mr. Mandela, as party leader, would be named president when the Parliament convened.
He had a cabinet that consisted of some of the people who'd been his arch enemies. He didn't much like either of his deputy presidents. Thabo Mbeki, who succeeded him, was not Mandela's choice to be his successor. And F.W. de Klerk, who shared a Nobel Prize with Mandela, the two of them had a relationship that kind of seemed to veer between tolerance and loathing.
While Mandela disliked and blamed de Klerk for much of the trouble in South Africa, he did praise him for having the foresight to see the reality of the situation, and for having the courage to face it. Many whites ended up despising de Klerk as a sellout.
His presidency was about inventing South Africa. Mandela realized that in order to govern this country, he had to win over some significant percentage of the whites. He had to at least reassure them that there was a place for them. It was their government too. And the vehicle that he chose for doing that was rugby. Rugby had been historically the Afrikaans sport, the whites' sport. Blacks didn't play rugby much, and in their eye it had become kind of a symbol of the oppressor's culture. So Mandela took it upon himself to embrace the Springboks, the national rugby team.
South Africa hosted the 1995 Rugby World Cup, and their national team was the Cinderella story of the tournament. They defeated New Zealand 15-12 in the finals.
Mandela came out to present the trophy, and you had the stadium full of white, mostly white Afrikaners, the former ruling race, chanting Mandela's name. His being there sent a message to white South Africans, and their reaction to him sent a message to black South Africans. It was a singular moment.
The dimensions and effects of poverty are all too familiar. Hunger.
Having delivered the miracle of South Africa's freedom, it was perhaps too much to expect Mr. Mandela to deliver a second miracle of broad prosperity.
He came into office promising a lot in terms of economic advancement. They didn't deliver on those promises. They were probably unrealistic to some degree. The trade-off was that they were not going to confiscate the wealth from whites, and they weren't going to confiscate the land from white landowners. To this day, there's some debate in South Africa over whether or not they should have been more aggressive in doing that. The other side of that argument is look at Zimbabwe, where they did confiscate everything and destroyed their economic infrastructure in the process. He fell short in a number of ways. For one thing, it was becoming clear at that point that South Africa had a devastating AIDS problem. It didn't get the attention that it really needed under Mandela's regime, and so he has to be faulted for that.
Later in life, Mandela spoke out about the need for safe sex and cheaper antiretroviral drugs. In 2005, he would share publicly that his eldest son had died of AIDS.
One of the most important things he did as president was step down, which is not a usual thing in new democracies.
When Mandela left the presidency in 1999, Thabo Mbeki, who was not his pick for successor, took over.
Post-presidency, he kept a very low profile. especially domestically. His successor was resentful whenever Mandela would speak out on anything political, and so out of respect for Thabo Mbeki and for the party, he only spoke out on things that he really cared about, like the AIDS issue.
As a former president, Mr. Mandela lent his charisma to a variety of African causes, joining peace talks to end several conflicts and helping his third wife, Grasu, raise money for children's aid organizations.
You know, people talk about Jimmy Carter being a better ex-president than a president. Mandela, in a funny way, sort of the reverse. He did his most important work before he was president. I think Nelson Mandela will be remembered first and foremost for his courage and dignity and persistence. I think he deserves to be remembered as a man who made a free South Africa possible, and who did it by behaving not like a revolutionary, but like a politician, by sheer patient, discipline, compromise, and negotiations.
Okay, from an individual symbol for our continents from the south to an institutional symbols in the north, which is Republic Alexandrina here. Would like just to give you, I will be very, very short in this presentation, so just save some time for the rest. But this will give you some idea about the activities we are organizing here in Republic Alexandrina regarding the capacity building of young people in Egypt and from other African countries as well. You all know that Republic Alexandrina is considered to be a center of excellence in the production and dissemination of knowledge, and to be a place for dialogue, learning, and understanding between cultures and people. Since we started the inauguration of Republic Alexandrina, we started several programs here. Most of them are directed to the young people. And the first one of these programs was called YESBU, or Youth for Environmental Sustainability and Better Understanding. And it was focusing on young people who are 13 to 18 years old. This program actually started back in June 2002, nearly about 4 months before the official inauguration of Republic Alexandrina. So this program, YESBU, is now in its 12 years of activities. The second program was started in 2006 and called ALYM, League of Young Masters, which consider young people who are students in Alexandria University actually, and their age is from 18 and above. The third program was organized on the year 2011 and called ALYM, African League of Young Masters, and most of my colleagues here are joining that program. All of these programs actually, they have objectives. The most important one of these objectives is to build capacity of the young people so they can be capable of holding the flags in their countries and in the continents as well. We have several activities in these programs. Some of these activities are weekly activities, like weekly meetings. Out of these, the weekly meeting for YesBU program is always organized every Saturday between 5 and 7 p.m. Also, we have another program called Knowledge Cafe, and we meet every Saturday from 4 to 5 p.m. The third program, which I refer to, the League of Young Masters, in which we meet every Sunday at 4 to 6 p.m. The African League of Young Masters is organized for the face-to-face meeting every Saturday from 3 to 5 p.m. During these programs, especially the ALYM, we organized the first graduation ceremony from our member of the African League of Young Masters who were graduated from our University of Alexandria last year, 2013. Here are some examples of the photos and pictures took during that celebration of last year, just to remind the one who has attended and the one who didn't attend it, just to give them some idea about the presence during that particular ceremony. It was also attended by her Honorable RAN of Najidinawa, the Minister of Gender Equality and Child Welfare, Republic of Namibia, presenting the parents, because some of the students were actually asking us if we can, or if they can invite their parents, and she surprised us by her attendance with her young son, who graduated from the College of Engineering in Alexandria University last year. Some of also the common practices we will carry on also this year is to ask one of the students to present his colleague, one of the graduate students, to present his colleagues or their colleagues and give a speech during the ceremony. And this is Keegan James of the Faculty of Agriculture, Genetic Department, graduated last year, giving the lecture or presentation on behalf of his graduate colleague. Of the activities also, we have different and many conferences, like the Global Environmental Youth Convention, like the Global Environmental Youth Convention here in Republic of Alexandria, or the one we organized even in Dubai, but we were the main organizer of that conference as well. Also, there is another series of conferences we organized here in Republic of Alexandria, and when I say we, I mean the young people, the students themselves. So they have the Environmental Youth Convention, the Arab Environmental Youth Convention, or AIC, started in 2007, 2009, and 2012, and I think we have one this year as well, 2003. Sketch Your Future is another activities we organized to allow all of those graduates from the high school to make better choice for the college they select for their continuing education. Some of the other activities, like field visits, we help our students to visit some places to learn more, and this is one of the activities they are doing in the northern coast of the Delta, where a good part of our Delta is going to be affected by the climate change, by making the soil unfertile because of the salinity or because of the flood from the Mediterranean Sea. Other field activities they organized also to visit some centers in Egypt to learn about the industrial or the national activities, and this is one during their visit to the solar plant in Wadi El Quraymat or El Quraymat Valley. And here is another visit made by our young students and masters visiting the Za'farana area where the wind station. Also the one who are engaged in some industrial activities, they visit the Amaria Cement company, and there are also actually more and more activities we organize here in Political Alexandria, and one of these is the continuing educational course focusing on the environmental issues and how to save the environment and the natural resources. Also, we organize several workshops to give the chance for our students to learn more about other kind of activities, as you can see them from here. And also we form what we call Safwa Club in each college here in Alexandria University and some other university in Cairo and other places. And these are the, just like moving our activity from Bibliotheca Alexandrina to the arena where the college and then they continue our mission over there. Also, there are also of campaigns they organize, like waste sorting initiative, فصلها تزيد قيمتها, activities, or helping the poor people in some places near by Alexandria, or by organizing lots of health awareness campaigns. Visits also has been made to Marsa Matruh, especially we have the representative of our Minister of Agriculture here, Dr. Ashraf. They went to the Matruh Center, belong to the Ministry of Agriculture, where they also study what we have in the valleys and activities in Matruh area and in Siwa as well. This was a very moment where they made a flag to show and protect the library during the revolution of the January 25th, and this marks the day where Mubarak has gone. Sea level rising, they have lots of activities. We have several programs with BBC and with NPR, the National Public Radio of the United States, or the BBC TV of England. Here is our contacts for you to join us. For that, I thank you. It's just giving you some idea about the activities we are doing around here. And I will just stop at this moment and give the official opening for this year ceremony. And I'm asking His Excellency Mr. Ibrahim Ahmad Ibrahim to give words on behalf of the Governor of Alexandria, who actually couldn't make it because you know how is the situation in Alexandria regarding the election, and he was called actually, and he will not be able to join us, but he is asking Mr. Ibrahim to give us a few sentences on behalf of His Excellency, the Governor of Alexandria.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السيدات والسادة أصحاب المعالي والسعادة، يسعدني ممثلا عن السيد اللواء طارق مهدي محافظ الأسكندرية أن أحضر احتفالية التخرج السنوية للطلبة الأفارقة الدارسين بجامعة الأسكندرية، والتي ترعاها مكتبة الأسكندرية العريقة. يشرفني أن أنقل معاليكم تحيات السيد اللواء المحافظ وقبول اعتذاره وعدم الحضور لظروف العمل التي تحول دون ذلك. ويسعدني أن أنقل تهنئة سيادته للخارجين الأفارقة، ويتمنى للجميع إقامة سعيدة بمدينة الأسكندرية بلدكم الثاني. أدعو الله أن يكلل سعيكم بتوحيد جهود أبناء القارة، متمنيا لكم التوفيق والسداد. مرة أخرى نتمنى للإخوة الأفارقة إقامة سعيدة بمدينة الأسكندرية. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
Thank you, Your Excellency. That was a word from the Governor of Alexandria, General Tariq al-Mahdi, given by Mr. Ibrahim Ahmed Ibrahim. Now, as a host university, our University of Alexandria is the one we all proud to be attached to. And Dr. Osama Ibrahim, who is the rector of our university, unfortunately also was not able to be with us here, but he kindly asked Dr. Ashraf Farag, the dean of one of our main college, to give his words to you in behalf of Dr. Osama Ibrahim. Dr. Ashraf Farag, please.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, our honorable guests. It is my honor to be here representing Alexandria University on behalf of Dr. Osama Ibrahim, President of Alexandria University, as he couldn't come today being out of Alexandria. Anyhow, it is our pleasure to receive students from Africa to study in most of our faculties in Alexandria, especially in the Faculty of Arts in the Center of Teaching Arabic for the Foreigners. I'm not preparing a word, but it is a great event to be here as we a part of Africa and Africa part of us. Thank you very much. السيدات والسادة، أنقل لكم تحيات الأستاذ الدكتور أسامة إبراهيم رئيس جامعة الأسكندرية، وأرجو قبول اعتذاره لأنه اليوم خارج المدينة. وأيضا يسعدنا أن يكون في هذا التعاون بين المكتبة ممثلة في الأستاذ الدكتور صلاح سليمان، وهو أحد أبرز أساتذة جامعة الأسكندرية في كلية الزراعة، وبين الجامعة وهذه الأنشطة العظيمة اللي احنا تعرفنا عليها اللي بتساعد على العلاقات ونمو العلاقات بين طلاب الأفارقة بعضهم وبعض، على اعتبار ان احنا طلابنا أيضا في جامعة الأسكندرية طلاب أفارقة، لأننا نحن أيضا أفارقة. شكرا، وآسف جدا إن أنا ما كنتش محضر كلمة. أنا ما متعودش إن أحضر كلمات على فكرة بالمناسبة، ولكن المناسبة النهاردة اللي بيقام فيها هذا الاحتفال بتأتي ومصر بتشهد ميلاد جديد. مصر تولد من جديد. فأجمل ما في هذا اللقاء أن إخواتنا الأفارقة بيحضروا وبيشهدوا معنا هذا الميلاد الجديد. إن شاء الله القادم من الأيام هيكون في كثير من العلاقات والتعاون وإعادة الأواصر أكثر مما كانت بين مصر والعالم الإفريقي، مش عايز أقول القارة، العالم الإفريقي. نتمنى لأفريقيا ولمصر التوفيق وشكرا. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ashraf. Going on in this program, let me again welcome specially His Excellency Mr. Suleba Kamara, the Ambassador of the Republic of Guinea. Excellency Mr. Musa Yaqub So, representing the Embassy of Bangkok. His Excellency Sen Luwal Gana Guba, from the Ambassador of Federal Republic of Nigeria. Mr. Jean Alfred Suku, from the Embassy of Congo. Last but not least, we have two representatives of two ministers of our Cabinet of Minister here in Egypt, who are very important to most of you, the Ministry of Agriculture and Land Reclamation, Dr. Ashraf Al-Ghanam, presenting His Excellency the Minister of Agriculture and Land Reclamation of the Republic. And His Excellency Mr. Engineer Medhat Mohammed Ibrahim, representing the Ministry of Irrigation and Water Resources. I just have heard also we have His Excellency the Ambassador of Uganda. Thank you. Thank you so much. Now, as usual, we have a word from the students. And this is what I always look for, because this is give us the kind of feeling our students actually felt in this city, in the university, and in their beloved second country, Egypt, and of course our continent. So let me present to you my dear students, Harun Tahir Mood, representing the graduates of this year.
Good evening. First of all, I want to say how honored I am to humbly stand here before you. Before I start my speech, I would like to thank Dr. Ismail Sirajuddin, Director of Public Alexandrina, Dr. Salah Suleiman, Advisor of Public Alexandrina, Excellencies, Ambassadors of different African countries, Alexandria University officials, fellow colleagues, friends and family, organizers of this event, ladies and gentlemen. As we all know, we're here to celebrate the graduate class of 2014. Graduates are looking so bright today, of course, as I am too. The stories of almost all African students in Egypt are alike. Myself as an example. I have been in Egypt for 5 years. Suddenly, there are things that will make this country an unforgettable place for me. In the beginning, when I first arrived here, I faced some difficulties of coping with the new environment, apartments to rent, transportation to and back from the college, the everyday struggle, decisions and choices I made, which no doubt brought me here until today. So we all should never let our hardship and our struggle go in vain. Therefore, we should motivate and encourage others through the life experiences, the skills we've learned over the past few years. Let's all remember that Egypt, Alexandria University, made us the people we are today. The young scientists, engineers, lawyers, we're all officially proud to call ourselves today And wherever you go, work with determination. Like there is always somewhere you have to be. Work with importance, like you're someone people should already know. And work with pride, because those are the people others will always follow. They say things happen when you truly believe they will happen, and that belief makes them happen. Therefore, the surest way not to fail is to be determined to succeed, because a failure is a man who has blundered but is not able to cash in on the experience. They say don't judge each day by the harvest you reap, but by the seed you planted. And finally, I would like to use this opportunity to give you a short presentation in order to show our gratitude to Dr. Salah Suleiman for all the effort and time he spent on us, guiding us and providing us and broadening our horizon, as well as Bibliotheca Alexandrina, being the incubator of African League of Young Masters, called ALYM members, whom are going to be the informal Egyptian ambassadors in different African countries, or maybe someday official ones too. The story of Saturday. Saturday is a day which the League of African Masters usually have their weekly meeting, as Dr. Salah Suleiman mentioned earlier. This is here in the regular meeting. Discussions are going on. Usually, a student prepares a presentation every week. It could be a cultural, a history of any of the African countries, or any idea that can bring more knowledge to all our colleagues. The objectives are building capacity and developing our skills, encouraging scientific thinking, engage in different activities and programs related to the environment to increase environmental awareness and promote preventative environmental management, promoting self-learning, active participation and distant learning methods, developing scientific skills, constructions, and so on. The weekly meetings goes on here too. This was a lecture presented by Dr. Ismail Sarageddin, Agriculture Development in Africa. Some workshops going on. This was as a campaign, and this was during a training in Maghrabi Farm, one of the famous farms, agricultural farms here in Egypt. I did my internship there and was honorably presented by a certificate by Dr. Salah Suleiman. Yeah, this is me and a fellow colleague who has graduated last year, Nicholas, and Blessings right there, sitting. This was a field visit in Koremat Solar Energy, also mentioned previously by Dr. Salah. This was a project called Producing Schools, which was also brought by Nicholas. And still students are working on it right now. Discussions, of course, sometimes we need to get some ideas from Dr. Salah, as he's our father and our professor, sometimes also our friend as well. Sharing ideas. This is Norhan and Blessings. Looks like totally Blessing is convinced by whatever Norhan is telling him. This is the class of 2013, the graduation, the group picture. And right now, there is nothing left to say, but congratulations, class of 2014. Thank you.
Please.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ogaya Christopher, Faculty of Agriculture from Uganda. I'm tasked with presenting the fun stuff today. Just like last year, we have a couple of presentations for you. Most of you are looking cold right now, but it's time to excite you a bit. Without wasting any much time, first on the agenda we have a group of energetic young men and ladies who have spent tremendous time preparing for a certain dance from Nigeria. The song is called Personally. Please enjoy, led by Eric and Sumaya. Have fun. Thank you. Thank you, Eric and company. Yes, we're just getting started. Most of you have heard about the pharaohs, you've read about them. Now is a chance for you to see how these great men used to be entertained. Next on the agenda is the pharaohic dance, presented by Egyptians. Have fun. Thank you for showing us just an insight how these great men used to roll the barrels. We really had fun watching that. Next, this event cannot be complete unless we have the fashion show. Next on the agenda, these young ladies and gentlemen are going to try and show us the various fashions from the different corners of Africa. Please enjoy and learn. Thank you. Thank you. I hope you've had a little insight into the different fashions from different parts of the continent. Next, we are going to increase the tempo a bit. Next, we have some very energetic men and women from South Sudan. They are going to show us one of their traditional dances. Enjoy. Thank you, our brothers from South Sudan. Next, we have a song. What better way to motivate our gallant graduates than through lyrics? So please, all the gentlemen and ladies in gowns today, pay attention to these lyrics. You're welcome for the next group song. Have fun. Thank you for those encouraging words in form of lyrics. Last but not least, we have something from the Nubian community. It's a Nubian song and dance. Have fun.
mooy
Balaiganen nirinye dagna, odigi joga jollu dire dagna, kofare ganen dorke dagna, kofare ganen dorke dagna, montal warillu dire kape dagna, aiga kireya, aiga kireya.
Thank you very much, the Nubians, for that very energetic performance. Now to the gist of the matter. I would like to take this opportunity to invite Dr. Salah Sulaiman. I'll be reading out the names of the graduates, and he will be handing you over your certificates. It has been a long road, but this is the time that you recognize and reap your efforts. Doctor, you're welcome.
Seen a proof of how great the multi-diverse culture that we have in these continents, and they can work together so at the end we can have amalgam. As a chemist, I think most of you know what I mean by amalgam. It's something that is more than a solution here. So these continents actually, of course, the people of the continents can get together, live together, work together for the improvement of these continents. We live, incidentally, on the greatest land on earth. I've been everywhere around the world, but I've always come back to these continents because here is what our roots go to. So we have to work, all of us, together for the benefits of our people, our continents, and for our dream to have a united continent. The differences between the European countries are far more than the differences between any African countries and the other. But the people over there thought that living together is better for the whole community. Why we don't do the same? We have to live together, we have to work together for the improvement of our people and our country and our continents as well. Thank you very much. Last but not least, I think we have some graduates. And I'm asking, I think, the ambassadors who are attending here to come up here, okay? So they can handle these certificate to those young people. So I'm asking Your Excellency to come to the stage here. He's the representative from this country. Madam, yes, please.
First is Mulima Blessing Alexandria from Malawi. Next is Dahla Farid Abdulkadir, also known as Engineer, from Nigeria. Next is Haruna Tahir from Nigeria. Haruna. Haruna. Next is Lam Kal from South Sudan. Is Mana Muhammad Hassan Yab. Next we have a very special man, a friend to all the African students, Marwan Ahmad Ibrahim. Next is Masamba Benugu from Congo. Next we have Muhammad Nagim from Egypt, a friend to very many also. Next we have Nadia Raymond Dia Maleka. Next one on the agenda we have Nafula Rachel from Uganda. Next we have Niza Hassan. From Comoros. Next we have Omar Rizi Sufa from Comoros. Next, we have Paulo Anyanga Ajek from South Sudan. Next we have Ron Efrat Zabakani. From Congo. Next we have Simon Marwal Mangiel, South Sudan. The next graduate, I don't know which country she's from, she only has English names. Susan Evan James. South Sudan, I'm told. Next is Ton Arum Mam, South Sudan. Next is Yengi James Tomijo, very social man. Next is Zachary Hishman. finally, we have Haruna from Nigeria. Those are all the graduates we had. Now I would like to invite all the graduates to the stage for group photo.
For all of us, we'll take a group photo on the stair. But before you go, let me remind you of something we have promised last year. Dr. Ismail Sirajuddin and I promised you last year to organize a continental conference every other year. For that conference, we will invite the graduates from their countries to come back to Alexandria, here in Biblioteca Alexandrina, where the library and the university together will organize that conference to give the chance for the one who has left already to come back and let us know and share their story of success during the years. So next year, it will be the first conference of ALYM, the first continental conference of ALYM, the African League of Young Masters, inshallah. Okay? So you will, all of you will be invited, the one who are staying, still studying in Alexandria, and the one who has already graduated last year and this year as well. Thank you very much, and I thank all of the graduates and wish them all the success in their life, and keep, underline, keep contacting your ALYM base. Okay? Looking forward for continuing relation and support. Most of the ones who graduated last year are asking for recommendation letters to apply for postgraduate studies, and we give them all the support we can, as well as we usually do. Also, let them know if there is an opportunity for them to continue their studies or building their career. Thank you so much. بعد